The trial began today for Ghislaine Maxwell. She's the longtime confidant of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Prosecutors claiming Maxwell helped Epstein by recruiting and grooming his underage victims. NBC News correspondent for investigations Tom Winter is live at the courthouse in New York. Tom, opening statements this afternoon. What charges does Maxwell face? What did attorneys say to the jury?
Right, opening statements and our first witness as well, Kate. So it started out with a little bit of a delay today with the jury getting seated, some logistical issues, and the jurors are actually going to be told that with the exception of the day before Christmas Eve and the day before New Year's Eve, they're going to be sitting through this trial for the next 6 weeks. 6 counts that Maxwell faces, including sex trafficking conspiracy, the sex trafficking of a minor, as well as conspiracy to entice minors. And that was one of the key things that the prosecutor who delivered the opening statement, Assistant United States Attorney Laura Pomerantz, focused on, particularly the 14-year-old underage victim that they say was involved with Epstein and with Maxwell when they recruited her from an art camp when she was just, as I said, 14 years old. They said that that summer camp turned into a nightmare. They detailed the allegations involving the 3 other alleged victims in this case, going into detail about the types of evidence and witnesses they expect to call, including obviously those 4 women, but also some of Epstein's former employees. And that takes us to the person who's on the stand now, and Larry Visosky, who's one of Epstein's longtime jet pilots. So he was one of the people that was involved in flying that now infamous Boeing 727. Just before coming out here, Kate, he testified that he did his best to try to record some of the names of who were on those flights, but in fact, he did not record all of them, particularly when they were domestic flights, and he didn't actually, was not actually rather required by law to record those names. Now, how's Maxwell's side responding? Well, in her opening statements, defense attorney Bobby Sternheim coming out and saying, look, this is going right after the victim's credibility here, Kate, being very specific that this is about 3 things. 1, the memory of these victims. The charges here go back to 1994, or the conduct, I should say, goes back to 1994 to 2004. She said that memory could be contaminated by information that's come out since this case was initially charged, since the plethora of news coverage has come out, the intense media news coverage of what Epstein and Maxwell allegedly did has come out. And she also focused on the idea of money, saying that all of these alleged victims retained civil counsel and reached settlements over millions of dollars in the case of all 4 combined. So she really focused on the victims and says that the evidence here just doesn't support their claims. Prosecutors obviously already addressing that in their opening statement, saying no, in fact, there's going to be a lot of corroborating evidence that they intend to offer that backs up the statements from these 4 alleged victims. So that's where things stand now. We should wrap up here in the next 10 minutes or so. Fully expect that the pilot, Larry Visosky, will be back on the stand tomorrow, Kate, to face cross-examination and continue direct examination. One little note, he's being questioned by Maureen Comey, the daughter of former FBI Director James Comey, who's worked at this U.S. Attorney's Office for some time, continuing a family tradition of working for the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. So that's what's happened here. A slow start to the day, but things certainly got busy later this afternoon. Kate.
All right, Tom Winter, I know you'll be on it for us. Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.